Okay, hello, greetings and welcome. All right, so let's have a look at a causal chain for internal power. If a person wants to develop internal power and punch like a truck, what is the training regime they would do to develop that? Now, the first thing you want to do is become aware of Jin. Train the building the ball Qigong exercise so that you get a very acute feeling of life force. You're holding your willpower on the breath on the stretch to accumulate this magnetic feeling just outside the body so that that magnetic fluid, because it's a substance, increases in that space, and then you pour breathe that feeling throughout the whole body. This is your basic aspect of Qigong. This is your starting point. Your second point from there is to open up your joints. So as you tune to the feeling of the energy, you roll, you stretch, you go through all the throwing exercises from whatever art you do, you start the throwing with throwing tension out of the body. So you're unlinking and disconnecting your mass. This puts your waves of mass through the body and spreads the energy through the joints, opens your joints, and knocks tension out of your body. Then we move into pulling the energy in instead of out, connecting the mass. So as you throw, you pull in. And as you pull in, you extend all the joints, and at the end of the movement, you hit the extreme where you withdraw and you slap your center of gravity. So if I throw out, I'm throwing this way. And what this does is all this acceleration and momentum of throwing out hits my core and connects my mass. So it's elastically expanding, connecting, forcing a whip, and I crack the whip in the opposite direction. So if I crack the whip outward in the air phase, I throw energy out of my joints. I unlink my body to release. If I throw inward and I hit my own core, my abdominal muscles get hit by my whole body mass when you draw it in, and you can use bigger and bigger motions to do the throwing action. You connect mass. Because force is mass times acceleration, you want to have an internal model that has a very high amount of acceleration, has a very high amount of mass. You train the extremes of the speed, the extremes of the connection, then your Jin and your mass will move together at very high speed in an internal way to produce power. So your throwing exercise is critically important. From the throwing exercises, we move into power stretching exercises. So with the power stretching, you extend your awareness out to a point in the distance and then push all the joints open in the mechanical shape where you want your power. So if you're a boxer and you want to connect power in this linear sort of banging way, then instead of holding your knuckles, you just simply stretch out and power stretch, expand and push your joints open for 10 seconds. And then, and you've got to do it so it hurts, you grab an object like a tree or a pole, and then you pull your joints open and train yourself to pull your joints open without the pole or the tree that you're holding onto, and then pull, and pull it through the line. If you're powering off the back leg, you power stretch off the back leg. If you're using a rotational torquing through the front leg, you power stretch through the front leg. Use the mechanical line where you want your power to be. 10 seconds of extending the ear electrically stretching, 10 seconds of getting your mind out to that point and pulling the joints open through that line of power. Okay, so you do the vital breathing, whole body pore breathing, accumulating life force inside the body. This releases a muscle and transfers tension to fascia. This is a natural transition. You do your throwing exercises, unlinking the body and linking the body. And then you do your power stretching exercise in the electric and the magnetic phase through the line that you want to develop your power through. From there, you're going to be grounding out your mass. So you put your punch out, you have a partner touch your knuckles, touch your elbow, and then they push down into your back leg or down to the front leg, depending on where the power is coming from. And then you just ground that out, relax, open the joints and sink. Hang the muscles and generate a grounding underneath your partner, underneath your opponent. And ground out, get connected mass on every movement you want to get power. So if it's an elbow, you have them touch your elbow and your shoulder and you relax underneath them. You might touch the feel and then sink, get underneath them. And this sinking grounding exercises gives you connected mass in your muscle memory of how you're going to do those elbows, how you're going to do those punches. So you remember to ground out. Once you've reached a point where you can touch your partner and they put their body weight through your line of power, they stretch through you and you relax under and their base picks up, that means you're more grounded than them. Remember, they're feeding their weight into you. They're not hanging on you, they're feeding their weight into you through a stretch, and they're not grounding themselves. They're trying to unground so that you can be more grounded than them, so you can create an elastic trampoline underneath them mechanically. Once you've done that, then your partner is going to rhythmically push their weight into you through that line, and you're going to relax and stretch, use the other arm to support so you don't injure your shoulder, and then issue through that line. As you issue through that line, you're going to find this elastic trampoline effect, where your partner is intentionally transferring their weight and jumping on your springs, on your trampoline, and you're tuning those trampoline springs to the feeling of vitality, the spirit of vitality. You're transferring weight from the muscle into the fascial web stretch, which means the muscle is essentially stretching, becoming longer, like a big elastic band, to produce these kinetic waves. So the quality of the feeding of the Jin from your partner, the way they stretch their mind and the feeling of life force and stretch their mass through you, is going to dictate how they bounce off your trampoline and how you align your body to rebound them. So you do 9 on left arm, 9 right arm, feed your partner, then go through each of your shapes. You might going through the elbows, you'll be having all these different types of elbowing movements, rolling elbows, spinning back elbows, under elbows, whatever movements you want to do. Go through each shape, do 9 on each side. Okay, so what do we have? Building the ball, tuning into life force. Once you're tuned into life force, we move into the throwing exercises. Then we move into the power stretching exercise, the whole body pore breathing while sinking and getting underneath your partner, creating a vertical circle. You're grounding underneath them. Then they start feeding rhythmically. We start rebounding and bouncing them. Okay, and then from there, the last exercise, if it's a striking oriented exercise, you go into your fighting posture, you stand in front of the punching bag, you vital breathe, then you mentally visualize what is the mechanics of my body to throw this punch. How do I roll and torque my body? Am I punching back down to the hip? Am I keeping my guard up? You go through these mechanics, you visualize them, mental. You feel them inside your body, astral. And then you act them out with the astral feeling, and you rhythmically accelerate your hand to punch a bag, punch a wall bag, sand bag, whatever your hitting object is that you normally use, and then relax, sink, and ground out. So every time you hit, stick, and ground your body so you're fully grounded underneath. And then you tune vital force again, build the ball, visualize, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to feel, and then act it out with the combination of the feeling and do your strike. And then recalibrate, life force. What do I want? What is the pattern? What is the astral? What is the physical? Act upon it. Create a self-fulfilling prophecy every single time, and then fulfill the prophecy. Every time you touch the bag, stick to the bag and ground out. Check for points of tension across your joints. Sink, ground. If you're a Wing Chun guy and you're touching the wooden dummy, sink and ground out your line. Next posture, sink and ground out your lines. And really get into the feeling that your whole body weight is arriving. After a few months of this, your body weight will have doubled, tripled, quadrupled its connectivity, which means your power will increase substantially in your strikes. So this is a very, very quick way to increase punching power by looking at each of these exercises, putting them together and punching like a truck within a few months. Okay, so I hope this helps with developing punching power and gets you putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And thank you for your time and stay safe.